Welcome to ATO Unfiltered, where we talk about all things mental and behavioral health. We interview incredible individuals to dive deep into their stories of aspiring, thriving, and overcoming. Connect with us to discover emotional understanding and find resources to help you live the life you strive for. I'm Sochi Rodriguez. I'm your host. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome to ATO Unfiltered, and we are here today with a very special guest. And I am your host, Sochi Rodriguez, and I am with a dear friend, but you guys can call her Dr. Zimmerman. So she is a specialist in mental health. She'll tell you more about what she does now, which is very different than what she used to do. But she is, for me, she is a brilliant woman. I've known her for more than 10 years. I was probably a fan even before she even knew my name, because I used to work for her for a spirit agency. And so I just admire her. I respect her professionally. I respect her personally. We probably have a lot of giggles because we have a friendship, a very close friendship. But there's always something that she says that always blows my mind. And her point of view in life in general is very enlightening. And she's just brilliant to me. So I'm so excited that she's here today. And I'm going to introduce to you guys. For you guys, it's Dr. Zimmerman, and for me, it's my dear friend, Denise. Thank you for being here with us today.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited. I'm intimidated, actually. I'm usually the host, but I love, because I know that your level of professionalism is amazing. So I'm so glad that you're here. So tell us a little bit about your background in mental health, and then we'll jump into the topic of today, which I think is extremely interesting.
So mental health wasn't something that I necessarily chose. It chose me.
Yeah.
That's a better way to say it.
Yes.
But I became, I can remember years and years and years ago, I was living in Georgia, and I was coming back to Texas to deal with some situations. My dad was dying, and I was coming back to deal with that. And when I was leaving, this woman came to me as I was getting in my car, and she said, "Denise, go back home and become a counselor. School counselor." I was like, no, not at all.
Was this woman okay? Like mentally?
That's not happening. And she's like, no, you really need to do that.
Okay.
And that was when I was about 32. And so I ended up coming back, and the words just kept haunting me. It was constantly, "Denise, go back to school." Because I had a degree in education. And it's like, go back to school and get your degree and become a school counselor. So I slowly, eventually, I did.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't know about this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I became a school counselor, and I really, really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the opportunity presented itself to become a district safe and drug-free counselor for a district.
Okay.
And there was about 5 of us, and we helped all the different schools with safe and drug-free lessons and counseling and things like that. And I really, really enjoyed that. I enjoyed the team I worked with. It was a dynamic team, and it was just wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was an opportunity that opened up to be a drug counselor in another district, but it ended up changing. We made it a prevention services.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's making so much sense now.
prevention services, because we didn't. This is going to sound terrible. I didn't just do drugs. I helped with other things too, like cutting and bullying,
Other mental health issues,
mental health things.
Gotcha.
And so all the high risk behaviors. It was a high risk. It was something that I dealt with.
Yeah,
I dealt with the child. I dealt with the family. I dealt with the campus.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever needed guidance or help in how to deal with that situation.
Mm-hmm.
That was my specialty.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was an opportunity for the director of guidance at Spring.
Mm-hmm.
So over all the counselors, and the Spring actually reached out to me, and they said, "Hey, we have a director's position. We'd really like you to apply." And I was like, "No, I'm happy here," because I really loved doing what I was doing. I was down in Clear Creek, and I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
And Spring said, "Can you come just talk to us?"
Mm-hmm.
So when I went up there, it was the funniest thing, because I told them, I said, "If you want to talk about academics, I'm not your person."
Right.
Yeah, you
always said that. Yeah.
If we're talking about academics, I'm done. I'm not talking.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to talk about mental health, talk to me.
Yes.
I will talk to you about mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, "No, we really need help with the mental health."
Mm-hmm.
And I was shocked. I was just like, are you kidding?
Because districts didn't do that
No.
back then. Now it's a little bit more common, but they didn't have mental health specialties in districts.
Not at all. And it was just like, how can a child do reading or figure out common denominators when a sibling just got arrested or the parents just got divorced or the like? How can they focus on their academics when they have these things going on and they're stressed and they're crying and they're upset and they're depressed? It has to be dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
So the district was very, very, very forward thinking. And
Sure.
I put together the mental health programming for the district, looking at what the state required and looking at what was already in place.
Mm-hmm.
And we developed an entire team. We developed an entire program, a framework on mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And it was absolutely phenomenal. Was able to do that for a few years. And then it got time where I was going to retire. And when I was retiring, right before I was retiring, we needed extra support for our Medicaid children because my counselors would call me and they would say, Denise, I have a child, Medicaid. I can't find a counselor because it's tough to find counselors,
very difficult, yes.
especially adolescents.
Yes.
So word got out that I was looking for an agency to come in and help support. And it was crazy. They were like, well, it's $500 an hour or it's $80,000 a month for us to come in and help.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not paying you anything. I'm giving you brick and mortar and the kids to work with. No, I'm not paying you anything.
Mm-hmm.
And ATO came through my door one day, and it was just like Mr. Ford. I know you've talked with him.
Yes,
He came in and he said, "We can do this and this and this." And I was like, "Yeah, right." Yeah, I've heard a lot of things.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
So he came in and he actually did exactly what he said he would do to help my kids and to help my families.
Mm-hmm.
So when the time came for me to retire, I had told him, I said, I'm looking at retiring. And he was like, well, you want to come join us?
Mm-hmm.
There was so much ethics.
Mm-hmm.
There was so much profession. He cared not only about my kids, but he cared about what was going on at home with their family.
Yes.
And he said, we'll take care of them. We'll take care of them. And then we had COVID.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, yes.
And when we had COVID, I don't know if people know this, but most of the districts lost kids. And the reason they lost them is because the children weren't able to log on for
They have lots of connection. They had to move, or they had to, parents were without
It was
jobs.
crazy.
It was a crazy.
And that was something nationwide. And so when we were going through the list of kids we just couldn't find, Mr. Ford had called and he said, what can we do? What can ATO do to help? And I said, go find our children. Go find. He put masks and he put gloves on his people and he sent them door to door finding our children. It was just unbelievable. And he made sure they had food. He made sure that they had, and he even set up Wi-Fi connections in areas where that was a big problem.
Right.
So it was just incredible. I mean, it was just, so when I was retiring and he said, when you want to come join, it's like, why would I not?
Right.
You're a man with ethics.
Yes.
You stick to your word. You do what you say you're going to do. You really care about the kids and the family. And that was critical for me.
Yeah.
And so that's how it ended up with ATO. I did say when I got here, I said, I don't want to be over anybody because I just had 100 counselors that I was over. I was like, I don't want to be over anybody anymore. But what I was put in and what I still continue to do today is program development.
Yes.
So what I do is I not only work with school districts, but I work with businesses. And because I'm able to see, it's a blessing. It is genuinely a gift and a blessing. I feel very blessed to be able to do this. I'm able to see connections between mental health and anything.
Yes. Yes.
You know that because I used to do that with the counselors.
Yes.
Be like,
Yes.
what does this have to do with mental health? In fact, the superintendent one time he asked, all the administrative leaders were in the room, and he said, I want you all to think about what your department has to do with the reading scores. My hand went up.
Of course.
Of course. Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, yes, of course. Denise has her hands up. Okay, Denise. We all know what you're going to say. I said, their mental health. I said, if their mental health is being interrupted, if there's things happening, they're not going to be able to sit there and concentrate on reading. So I know what my job has to do with it. The bottom line is it's everything.
Everything.
And I think it is critical that people understand mental health is not just mental health illness. Mental health is mental health across everything. There's nothing that does not correlate or can be used in relation to a mental health discussion.
Yes.
I can tell you how a fire hydrant can be used to have a mental health discussion.
So we're going to go into that conversation because I know it's very interesting. So I'm going to back up a little bit. So the audience that doesn't know or are not around us knows about this. So Denise came into the district that I met her in. She not only set up the programming for mental health, which has never been done before, other districts asked her and consulted with her to build their own mental health profession. She would talk to legislature. She would make sure that counselors had everything that we needed. She would constantly check on us. The mental health awareness in the district changed dramatically. And not just in the district. I know districts around us that everybody knew who Denise Zimmerman was in the mental health world or in the counseling world in every single district in the city of Houston. And also, I'm pretty sure around the state. So what she's talking, what she built, it's not like just this one thing programming. She thought about every single detail from the kid in pre-K, from the kid in, what is it called? When they start, when they have maybe a disability or something, but the little kids, from that little kid all the way to graduating high school. Huh?
Early child?
Early childhood, yeah, sorry. I forgot that word. English. From early childhood up to the graduating senior in high school, I have to make sure that I make this clear, that had to do with mental health, not academics. But she built a system so solid that the mental health profession in every district around us changed because of this brilliant woman. So I just wanted to kind of give you that feedback because she says like, oh yeah, I built this program. No. It was a masterpiece. It's still a masterpiece. And I'm pretty sure they're still using it in the districts and if we're not. Okay, we're not going to go there. But so one of the things I remember, it was one of the conferences that we did or one of the meetings that we had as counselors and Denise was leading it. And this is when my first admiration for this woman started. She's like, everything has to deal with mental health from the moment every person wakes up, everything that's around us, it's around us, every interaction we have with people, everything has to deal with mental health. So that is a topic for today. And you mentioned the fire hydrant.
Yes.
And, we all drive by fire hydrants and we see them. It's like, well, I mean, so what do you say? How is the fire hydrant related to mental health? So we might have a therapy session here.
What does a fire hydrant, what does it represent to you?
The fire hydrant for me represents...
Not clinician you.
Yes. Take off the hat, because that's what I have to do with her. The fire hydrant for me, it means, well, don't park around it, like don't be around it, but it also means safety. It also means, saving somebody or saving from a fire. So,
okay.
Yeah. So there's a savior of a bad situation, type of situation.
So what it does is it brings the emotions or the feelings within you that the fire hydrant is safe. Correct me if I'm wrong. The fire hydrant, it brings safety.
Yes.
There's boundaries because you can't park near it. However, even though it has the boundaries, you know that thing provides safety.
Yes.
You know that if it's anything in proximity, it's going to be taken care of. So subconsciously, what happens is there's a peace of mind that goes through you that you're not even aware of, that is safety. But you can also talk about what does fire hydrants do? It puts out water to put out fires. So you can always think about, I need a fire hydrant in this moment. I need something that can put out these flames in my life. So you can use the symbolism of the fire hydrant when you're trying to work through things. I'm going to have my boundaries. I'm going through a tough time right now.
Sounds very relationship-y.
Yes.
With anybody. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship.
Exactly.
But yes.
Anybody. I'm going to put my boundaries. And if this is going on, I'm going to use a fire hydrant idea where I'm going to get the hose. I'm going to put it out, put the fire out a little bit, contain it. And then I'm able to, get balanced a little bit more.
Yeah.
So, different things, you can look at different things and say, how can I use the concept of this in mental health? Because everything is mental health. It's not about this person has mental health and This one doesn't. We all have mental health.
Right.
Just where is it on the scale? Where is it? Sometimes it's like a temperature. Sometimes it's better.
Right.
It's higher.
Yes.
Sometimes it's
Well,
lower.
sometimes it's hot.
Sometimes it's burning. Exactly.
And humid and all the things.
Exactly. So, it's a matter of being able to understand that there's literally nothing that we do. There's no aspect. So when people are kind of talking about, well, do we really need mental health? Do you have it?
Yes. Do you have it? Do you have a mind?
Do you have a mind?
Yes.
Do your students have a mind? Do they want to eat lunch? For their body, the fuel for their body? When we do things to take care of the mind, it's nothing more than the food we eat to take care of our body, the function of our body. The same with the brain and the mental health part of it.
Yes.
One of the things that I find real interesting is so many times when I would work with kids, they hated taking their medication. And because I felt like, oh no, there's something, I'm not right. And
There's something wrong with me. Yes.
break my heart. And it's like, if a child has diabetes, do we fault the child for needing the insulin
Right.
to balance them out? They have no control over that, right?
Yes.
Or if someone has a heart condition and I have a heart thing, I have to take medication. So should I feel guilty or bad that I have to take heart medication?
Yes.
And so my heart is an organ, the brain.
Yes.
I need something to balance it out. It's no difference in people who have hormone imbalances. If you need medication for your body, why would you, for organs in your body, why would you not need, some people need a little bit of boost or help with the brain.
With the brain, yeah.
It's really, I don't see, I don't understand why people see such a stigma of the mental health different than the physical health, because it's all part of the system.
And I'm going to put my clinical hat back on just for like five seconds because, yes. But so emotions also is a chemical reaction inside the body. So it's not like being angry or being sad or being whatever emotion. That's absolutely normal. But there is a chemical, reaction to the body. So if it gets out of control, if it gets like a fire, like a small fire in, or in the cold weather or whatever, it's nice, but then it can get out of control. So when it gets out of control, that's when we kind of we need the fire hydrant to put it down. So it's the same thing with the medication. It's like if the emotion gets out of control, then the medication is going to help you kind of put it under. It's like water.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. But you said something so critical. You said we need that fire hydrant. One of the things that we don't understand is like, I don't know if y'all have noticed, I've been sitting here with this.
I was going to ask about that. Yes.
It gets right into what you're saying. I have undiagnosed ADHD. I think that she would probably
other things.
We'll talk about that later.
That's another episode.
But I also have anxiety. I have done presentations nationally. I've done them internationally.
Thousands of people.
But whatever I do, I have something in my hand because I have anxiety.
Yes.
And so I fidget with something. In fact, it was funny because I actually went through a whole bucket of things. Which one is going to work for me today?
Yes.
And it's not just when I'm sitting here with you, but if I'm on the phone call or something like that, I'll have to have something in my hand to fidget with to regulate. And that's exactly what you're talking about with the fire hydrant. And if you're getting worked up in something like you need your fire hydrant. Know what the tools are that work for you.
Exactly.
And don't be ashamed of it. I brought this into this interview. I'm not ashamed. It's what I need. And so it's like, I have to honor that with myself.
Yes. And as being from like you being my boss and me being, you being my mentor kind of thing, and knowing how brilliant and how magnificent you were in presentations and everything that you did when I met you as my supervisor. For me, knowing that she had to do that, even like when she's at that level, it made you human to me. It made you like, oh, she goes through the same thing. It's not that she's this mental health guru, because that's how I saw you, right? That's how I still see you. And we have these conversations like that all the time. And I could talk to those women for days. But it made me be okay with, you know what? I don't have to be perfect. I also have anxiety. I also have, things going on, and it's okay. It's okay. So it doesn't matter what level, or it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what title. if you have impacted, the mental health industry in the state of Texas, like my friend over here, or if you're just a clinician like I am. But it does help everybody. Like we all need that support. We all need that help. And that's okay.
It is a lot.
And the children especially. Oh,
and to not diss it, not to put it down, not to hey, you don't need that, or no. If that's what's going to take for that person to regulate,
absolutely,
let it be. What does it hurt? I mean, there's things that, like, there's even times like I'm having a tough day and I'll be like, I just need to be close.
I was like, okay. I just hug it out.
I just need to be close. And literally it's like we get a hug and then it's like, okay, now I'm okay.
Yes.
But I honor that with myself. I know when I need that.
Yeah.
I know when I need my space. Sometimes if I get upset, I go quiet. And it's like, I honor the fact. Now, I try to make it very clear because it can come across, other people will personalize it. So I try to make it clear. I need my space for me.
Right.
So I can figure things out. Because I don't ever want to invade someone else's mental health and make them feel off.
Like we did something wrong, or
Right, so I try to explain, listen, for my mental health, or I may not use those exact words, but I just need now I need some time.
Yeah.
And, I'm not mad, I'm not upset, but I just need a little bit of time.
Yeah. And now we have, as friends, now we have that understanding between each other. But in the beginning, I remember if I adjusted to it, it's like, did I do something wrong? And the last thing I wanted to do was disappoint, a pretty woman like me. It's like you. So it was like, did I do something wrong? Then we got to like, oh, no, she just needs her space. Sometimes I need my space, and I climb up whenever I'm going through something. And at this time, Denise knows it. But we're in this profession.
Yes.
We are in this profession. We kind of understand. I know what to do. I have my own therapist, and I know you go through your own healing process and things like that. So we are able to recognize. A lot of people are not able to recognize how to put that boundary and say, you know what, I just need some space. And they're still having trouble. So I know what I would do as a clinician, in a therapy session. But like when people, how do we recognize that we need that boundary?
First of all, I think one of the things that we dismiss very quick is our own body telling us. You can feel in your body when you need your space.
Yes.
You can feel your body react. And you start tuning into that. Honor that. Your body, your spirit is trying to tell you, hey, I need a little bit of time.
Yes.
Honor that. And you can tell someone, and you can tell them without making yourself seem sad or whatever. Hey, listen, Sochi, I just need a little bit of time. Okay. Right. I need some space.
Yes. That communication piece is key.
Critical.
Knowing what you're feeling and then being able to communicate it, because if people keep pushing because they see there's something wrong going on, you're not the same person. So they'll look, I keep out like, are you okay? Do you need something? Are you okay? And sometimes for me, I know that's annoying. Yes. So for me, it's like, no, back up, because I'll explode if people keep kind of nagging me when I'm like, I just need some space. But if I don't communicate that,
right,
like, hey, I need some space, then, that's when the issue starts. Because it happened to me before where people are generally caring about how I feel, and I just need my space. And if I don't communicate it, then I'll take it on something else or somebody else, So that's the danger of these emotions and not being able to communicate and send those boundaries.
It is critical. And whether you're a child watching this, and if you're a child, I highly encourage this. And even if you're an adult, have enough
assertiveness.
Assertive enough. I have enough with Sochi at this point to honor myself and to honor her, and to say, I need time.
Yeah.
And allow for that. She allows for it. If I say I need a little bit of time, she doesn't get mad. It's not personal.
Right.
But being able to have that voice for myself, because what happens is if we don't have that voice, we push it down, and then we get ulcers, and then we get all kind of sickness.
Yeah.
And it's not we get about we don't blow up at the person. And it really was never about that person.
Yeah.
It was about the fact that I didn't honor myself and give myself. But it's not like about honoring myself, and it's like sitting over here going, I'm not going to tell her because it's about me. It's not shit.
Yeah, no.
That's not the way it is.
It's communication is a key.
Back to your word. Communication.
Yes,
absolutely.
Doing that. So let's and we did not rehearse any of this, by the way, you guys. So now let's go with the tree. So how is the tree related to mental health?
Or how could it be used?
How could it be used? Yes.
So tell me about a tree.
And then I put on the spot. That was, I put
She
myself
put me on the spot, so I just fair game.
So, okay. So what is it? Like a tree for me, it's something like I think of a tree. When I think of a tree, I think of its roots. Like it goes all the way down. It's, the roots sometimes are bigger than what you can see. So that's what trees make me feel, just kind of safe, especially if it's a bigger tree. It just makes you feel safe. It helps you feel like have shade. They're beautiful to look at in nature. I get in touch with, with a different side of me that I may not be in an office or something like that. I said a lot. Sorry.
No. You're good. So a tree has the roots. I'm gonna pick. So it has roots.
Yes.
And it was. What do the roots do?
The roots are the ones that are actually, if I'm not mistaken, the one that will actually nourish the tree.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where it absorbs the nutrients and the water and everything that it needs. And I know the leaves need the sun too, but the roots are kind of what makes a tree, and it's what makes it so solid that it doesn't fall over.
So when the winds come,
Yes.
and the winds start blowing, it keeps it from falling over.
Yes.
So let's talk about your roots.
Okay. I told you.
If you were to stand up,
Yes.
and I asked you, plant your roots. Feel like you have the roots going down. And then you start thinking about the stuff in your life that's happening.
Yeah.
How far down are your roots? How far did you push and stretch your roots down to ground yourself? Because just like the tree, we can have the roots. And roots is a very abstract term to be used and stuff like that. But when we're talking about roots, we could be taught, the roots could be symbolic for connections with people. Roots could be symbolic for practices that we do for ourselves. What do we have?
Family traditions?
Family traditions.
Okay.
What is some things that we've done to secure ourselves in our space and with ourselves? And how solid is that?
Yes.
So that when those winds do come, it's not going to blow you. It might push you a little bit, but with your traditions and with your rituals or with
knowing your identity.
Knowing your identity.
Yes.
And the tree still comes back and stands up for the most part, places, except in Houston with the hurricanes. We might have other situations going on. And some hurricanes.
And sometimes we fall and we have to reborn again too.
Exactly.
Trees might fall, but they grow again.
Well, they grow again, but also they're reborn again as well, because it might be that it's used to make firewood.
Yeah.
And then it's got a new purpose in life.
It goes through a different season and it goes through the change.
Absolutely. See, you're doing it. You're doing it now.
Yeah.
The tree has the seasons and the changes and the colors of the leaves change. And what do the colors represent?
And they have to die to be born again. Oh,
see.
So much.
So how is it?
We did not practice this.
How is it not mental health?
Yeah, for sure.
How is it not mental health?
Yes.
And so, there's literally, I don't care if we're talking about brushing your teeth. Everything is related to mental health, because when we're brushing our teeth, we're talking about our smile. We're talking about our breath. We're thinking about our smile. We're thinking about our breath. We're thinking about our healthy teeth. Or, it makes you feel good.
People. Yes.
So
the relationships that we have around us, and doing them a favor by brushing our teeth every morning.
Exactly.
Like, all right. Got to meet up with Sochi, so I'm not going to brush my teeth. Well, I remember having that conversation with my kids, especially when they were little. It's like, okay, you don't want any, you want any people around you, then don't brush your teeth, because with kids, brushing teeth is a big deal apparently. But now they're good. But yeah, for sure. So I'm telling you, and you can ask her 1,000 questions about that, and she will always come up with something brilliant. And I that's why we always have conversations, and I cannot have enough conversations with you about anything in life, because you're able to connect the dots of many things in life and relationships. And yes, it's about mental health, but it's just about being.
Yes.
It's just about being a human.
It is. And I love that you brought that up, because one of the things that I was able to do that I was really excited about, because when you're talking to people about mental health and they're not from a mental health background, they kind of pull back, especially when you're in a school system. And I had to figure out, how do I get these superintendents? How do I get these principals to start listening to me about mental health? Because it was just like, yeah, that's frou-frou stuff. Yeah, that's just fluff. No, it's not just fluff. And so one of the things I know that we can all talk about in life, and everybody pretty much agrees on, is Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yes.
And so if you look at Maslow hierarchy of needs, you can actually apply it to a school system, or you can apply it to a lot of different systems. Within a school, you have the very basic, you have the building, you have the
Food and
in the very bottom. But then you can actually take mental health and put it overlay on top. So if you're able to look at the overlay of mental health and how it affects
every single
stage of that hierarchy.
It's a triangle. If you're not familiar, it's a triangle. It has different levels of human. What is it called? And I guess transcendence. Like the last piece, but
it's the needs, the needs of life. What you're needing, and it's like once you get this, you can go back and forth, but it's about what we need in order to reach the top of the triangle to self-actualize,
That's what it's
to become all that we can possibly be, and most people in education and stuff, they're able to talk to you about the Maslow hierarchy of need, and they know the importance of it. And the child has to have security. The child has to have connections. The child has to have, or the person has to have love, belongingness. But then they could not see how mental health impacts the hierarchy.
Yes.
If the child doesn't have food, there is a fracture in that bottom base
or safety,
or safety. So you have that bottom base with cracks in it, and you're expecting to build up. You're expecting to build their self-confidence, your self-worth on this base that has cracks. We have to be able to get in there and say, okay, maybe the home is not stable. We have to make sure that the housing, the home is stable. We have to make sure that, because that affects the mental health, because you're not going to be able to get anywhere else. They can't self-actualize when there are so many holes.
So you see, the way that I'm picturing it, because I have to picture everything, you see an overlay over that pyramid.
Yes.
And that's mental health.
Yes, that's the one. I'll send it to you.
Yes. Why am I not surprised? Did you
have that overlay.
Did you make it yourself? Probably something new. Yes, of course you did.
But that's how I was able to get, because it's very important that we're able to take that transition and take it from where a person, their language and what they understand. And I'm not talking about language, English, Spanish. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about their language in the industry and where they work, or what industry they work in. If you're able to take their language, their base, and their background knowledge and show the overlay of mental health, then people are more likely to go, I see.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. And now I can see why this is not working, and I can see why this is working, is because I took that into consideration.
Yes. And everything is working together.
Absolutely.
Everything is related. Everything's working together, relationship, mental health, and the pyramid, everything is one entity. It's an ecosystem.
Yes.
Yes.
Very much an ecosystem.
Wow. Anything else that you want to add that you really want to say to our audience? Because I know, like I said, we can talk for hours, so I don't want to copyright. I'm pretty sure we're going to do different episodes. Anything else that you want to add to the topic of anything can be related to mental health, or just advice for people, I guess?
I think that I'd like to just say, and I kind of said it earlier, respect your mental health. Wherever it is, whatever you're going, respect it. It's not a knock against you. I'm sitting here with a spinner because of my anxiety. It's okay. And my advice is, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm okay the way I am. It's okay that I have to use a spinner. It's okay that I have to tell someone I need a few minutes. Respect yourself in that. Honor yourself in that. Because what happens if you don't, you put another layer of mental anguish and mental health concerns on yourself. So, mental health is not something that you have to fix. It's a mindset. It's something that we all as society have to get to a point of understanding. This is a mindset of us all to change, to understand that that's just part of our health.
Yeah, that's part of our overall health. And like you said earlier, it's a spectrum.
It is.
So it changes all the time. And I kind of joke, but not really joke with my clients with my private practice, when it's like, what diagnosis do you give me? And then there's some questions about that, but it's like, it's not about that diagnosis. Because for me, and I joke with my own therapist about my own diagnosis, because it changes every week. It doesn't matter what it is today or, tomorrow or this week or this month. It might change and it doesn't matter, because a diagnosis doesn't make me. Now it is me, and then just having some symptoms, some reactions, some, the mental health issue, the stuff that it's going on, but not necessarily that it's problems or anything. It's just what do I need to do to take care of myself?
Exactly.
Yes.
I was trying to think of my favorite thing that I've said many times, and you made me think of it. Mental health is not an afterthought.
Yes.
It is a mindset.
It is.
We shouldn't wait for the diagnosis. We shouldn't wait for someone to say, oh, that's because.
Yes.
We shouldn't wait for that. Instead, we should say, it's there. Mental health is there.
It's there.
I don't know where on the spectrum it is, but it's there. And have it as it's part of the mindset.
Yeah. And obviously, as a therapist myself, I will always recommend people to get therapy and stuff like that. But it's not necessary for everybody. Like, not everybody needs therapy, but you do need to figure out how to cope with those chemical imbalances, with that emotional reaction, with those, with those traumas, or with anything that happened with that hunger. So you need to know how to cope with that. Like I said, I'm an advocate for therapy, and if you are thinking about it, just go to therapy. But it's like if you find a way to cope with your own health in general, like your ecosystem, then you're in a good spot. But if you don't feel comfortable, if you feel like there's something else, then go to a therapist and kind of figure out with somebody who's a professional what to do in your situation. So they help you kind of figure that out on your own.
I agree with that. But I do want to add one more thing, because I always want to.
Yes.
Sorry.
No way.
Yes, you find a therapist, but one of the things I want to really, really emphasize here, and what I'm going to say is going to sound a little bit disrespectful. I don't mean it disrespectful. Therapists are kind of like shoes. You have to, even though I wear the size 10 shoe, all 10s don't work.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. If you have a therapist that's not working, try another one. It's not that they're a bad therapist. It's not that you don't need help or your help is way beyond or whatever.
Therapy doesn't work.
It's not that at all. Try another therapist. There's a right therapist out there. I actually found a therapist that everybody is saying that she seemed to have worked really well with me, because they all say I'm an And it was an art therapist.
Yeah.
And I was very reluctant, but I needed some clarity on some things. And I just tried it. And it was just, it worked for me.
So you found the right pair of shoes.
I did find the right pair of shoes. So if you try one and it doesn't work, don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on yourself. Find the right person for you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Denise, for being here. Like I said, every conversation that I have with this moment is just a pleasure. So I really appreciate it. I'm pretty sure that we're going to invite you back over and over and over again, because the conversation with this woman are always very interesting. So thank you guys for listening today. We appreciate it. If you have any comments, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to send it to us. Just remember, this is not actual therapy. This is just two people that are in the counseling department, the counseling world, talking about mental health. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.